Hi everyone, welcome back to the next diecast. In today's video, I'll be unboxing and building this 1/18 scale 1963 Dodge 330 model kit made by Maisto. I got this model from eBay for $41 in total, including shipping and everything. I thought that was a great deal because these 1/18 scale Maisto assembly line kits are pretty difficult to find now. Maisto did not make 1/18 scale model kits for very long. They've made 1/24 scale model kits for quite some time now. But briefly, from the early to mid 2000s, Maisto did make some 1/18 scale model kits as well. This Dodge 330 is one of several that Maisto made. There was also a Volkswagen New Beetle, a BMW Z8, Jaguar S-Type, 1965 Corvette, among several others. This one, I think, was made around 2004. It does have a 2004 copyright date on the bottom of the box. And usually the copyright date you see on Maisto boxes corresponds to the year that the model itself was actually made. So I thought I got this for a pretty good deal. I've seen this particular model kit go for up to $100 in some cases. So it is pretty hard to find. You can occasionally find it for under $50, which I did. And I was really glad to get it for that price. So we'll go ahead and take a look around at this box to kind of start off with here. You can see in the front here, you do have a window where you have the body of the car and the two sets of wheels that you get. Maisto has kind of been making their assembly line kits in this kind of style for years now. And then you have the screwdriver that comes with the car up in the corner there in that kind of clear plastic. The model is held in place by two clear plastic pieces back here. And then, of course, you got the sets of wheels down there. Then you have a picture, or a photo, I guess, of the finished Dodge 330 on the bottom there. This one does have the stock wheels on it. And then it says bonus custom wheels included. In this case, it comes with the extra set of chrome wheels. Skill level 3, and then you have 1/18 up here. And then the name of the car on the bottom, and then the Maisto assembly line symbol on there. And then on either side flap, it's kind of the same. You have the name of the car, plus a picture of the car, of course. I think it's actually still taped, so this has actually never been opened before. The tape is still sealed, so that's actually pretty cool. Almost 20 years old now, and we're going to be building it for the first time, so that's actually awesome. And then up here you do have another picture of the car. It's all from the same angle too, but there is some different stuff on the back, which I'll get to. 1963 Dodge 330, and then the Maisto assembly line symbol back there. Then on the back you have, on the back, you do have some other photos of the finished model. Here it is with the hood open, screwdriver included, easy assembly, and pre-painted metal body. Build a whole collection of die-cast model kits. Then you have some other information kind of down here, all the different features that the model will have once complete. And then here's a photo of all the parts kind of laid out. So this will kind of give you an idea of how Maisto 1/18 scale models are constructed in general. Pretty much the same parts count for every model. Of course, it'll vary slightly from model to model. Like this one has multiple pieces for the engine. Some other Maisto models might just have a single piece. But you have like the dashboard, the steering, the exhaust, wheels, tires, screws, and I think the license plate stickers are pictured on there as well. So overall, it should be a pretty fun project to build this. I'm really happy to finally have a 1/18 scale model kit in my collection. The main reason why I wasn't really buying any was because, one, they're hard to find, and two, a lot of the models that Maisto made in their 1/18 scale model kit line were of models I already had. So I'm not going to get a second model, just to build it when I already have that model. I don't have this Dodge 330 currently in any scale. Actually, I don't even think I have like a Hot Wheels or like a Matchbox version of it. So I thought, you know what, this will be the one that I get to kind of see what these Maisto 1/18 scale model kits are like, and just to kind of build one. And of course, have a cool video for the channel here as well. And I do like this Dodge 330 in general too. They made it, I think, from 1963 until 1965 in real life. It was the successor to the Dodge. I think it was the Polara, which is another coupe model. And there was actually a 330 sedan in real life too, but Maisto does replicate the coupe. And you could also find this model in pre-built versions. Maisto made it in white, light blue, red, and also this gray. They discontinued it and brought it back, I think, at least twice. I know it did turn up at Costco the one year in a recent years, but this will kind of be similar in construction and detail to the pre-built versions of this model. So we'll kind of look at that throughout. And in my next video, I'll be doing an in-depth review of this model once it is complete. So this video will focus on the unboxing and the actual build, and then the next video will focus on kind of reviewing the finished product. So we'll go ahead and get this model out of the box for the first time. We'll get it out from this side here. Get some scissors and we'll pop open that tape on there. All right, got the tape cut. We'll go ahead and get the model out. I shouldn't say the model, I should say the parts of the model out so we can build it up. Just gonna slide it out here. There's all our pieces back in here. Look at all that. Kind of similar to those 1/24th scale kits. You have all the pieces kind of in different bags, and then you have the main kind of body up top and the wheels sort of mounted in the front with those plastic components, or those plastic protectors or pieces, I guess. I'm not really sure what to call them. All right. Everything's all wrapped up in these individual bags, which is cool to see. Here's the screws, the springs, and the license plate stickers. Then we have the exhaust components right here. The engine. I like how these are kind of categorized. So all the interior parts are in specific bags. Then you have all the exterior and exhaust components in other bags, kind of on their own. This is all the engine components, I believe. Yeah, that's actually really cool. Some interior parts on here. Looks like we got door panels and seat backs. Then we got some more seat pieces, or seat components, I should say. Right here is, oh, here's some more engine parts. Engine, steering, and dashboard for this bag. Then here's some undercarriage components. You have the steering system, the axle for the rear wheels, and then looks like a screw to, I guess, screw all of this in place. Then we got the tires. One of them's got a tear on it. Oh, that's on the inside. I can just hide that once I put it on the wheel. Or mount it to the wheel, I guess I should say. Then here's the two big pieces in here. So this is the frame. The body's going to get screwed into the frame here. And then we have the interior pan / trunk pan. The trunk pan is just a single mold. Here's like that looks like a battery pack or something in there. I guess the real car does have that, but yeah, we will get these out. And then of course you have the manual for building the car. Looks like it's just one single pamphlet or something. I'm kind of surprised because this does have many more parts to actually build than the 1/24th scale version does. But here's our kind of a heavy model too, and that's just with like the body not even built. So there's kind of all of our components, I guess, somewhat laid out here. You can see we got a lot going on. So this will be a pretty, I think, engaging and interesting build once we get started. So I'll kind of open everything up and then we'll kind of lay all the parts out. But here's everything kind of unboxed completely. Of course, not everything is unpacked from the bags, obviously, for right now, but this is what you're kind of going to get if you get one of these older 1/18 scale model kits from Maisto. They'll be all kind of bagged up nicely. So nice and organized. I kind of like that because when you're not using parts yet, you can kind of put them off to the side and keep them in their bags, which is good, especially for small parts like these screws, which could easily get lost. You know, it's good to kind of have the bags to kind of keep everything in place. So we'll take a look and see what we got going on for the instructions as well for the next part here. All right, here's all the parts of the model laid out on the desk here. Now, Maisto already put on the windshield, rear window, side windows, door handles, bumpers, and headlights and taillights on the model, but pretty much everything else is given as separate parts that you can then build when you build up the model here. And that's going to be kind of similar for other 1/18 scale kits. So here's everything kind of laid out here on the desk. You can see we have the wheels, the body, like the interior and a trunk pan, all the different engine and interior components and everything too. So here's the instruction book, or paper I should say. You can see it's broken up into 12 total steps here. Some steps are more involved, as we'll see back here, because there's lots of different arrows or individual parts going on. Like this engine has a whole bunch of steps involved to put it together, as well as the interior setup, or the interior pan and seats, and the steering system too. And then you end off with putting the rear wheel assembly on. So the first two steps were to put on the door panels and the vent windows, which I have done here. And then also in the engine here, you put on that kind of plastic trim where the radiator and that hose are attached to. So those are the first two steps there. Up next, we have the model laid down on a cloth to protect its roof, and then we have the dashboard here. That's going to kind of clip on underneath the windshield, as you'll see right here. You can see that the pedals are actually mounted on there as well. And then eventually we'll mount the steering wheel on there, which will connect to the front wheels to, of course, have the working steering that these models feature. Next, we assemble the interior, which has many different components. I already did the front seat here, which is made up of three pieces. You have the seat back, the seat bottom, and kind of the plastic frame that holds the two together. Here's the interior pan. The seat will pop in place in the front there. And then here we have the rear seat also installed with the front seat and those two rear panels. And everything's kind of held in place by those two sort of black plastic screw or like nail things. Not really sure what to call them, but they're fairly large and they do hold the back seat in. Then up next we have the front steering assembly, which is pretty involved. You have all kinds of springs and screws and stuff that go on there. There's all the pieces for that right there. So first we put on the two suspension springs, because this model does feature full suspension, as most 1/18 scale models from Maisto do. So they go on there like so. And then we put on the front axle, which is also a steering axle. If I can just pick that up here. There we go. So that will fit into place like so, as you can see right here. And eventually the steering wheel and steering column will be put on so it actually works with the steering. And then this plastic piece kind of goes on top to hold everything in place, like the suspension and the steering system, which is cool to see. Up next, the engine. So the engine is made up of, I think, 6 or 7 different parts. You can see they're all kind of laid out here. Once I got that together, it was pretty easy to kind of fit in there. It does clip into place. You don't have to glue anything on this model, which is nice. You can just screw things in or kind of snap things into place. And here's the engine, and then you have the trunk pan. Both kind of clip onto the plastic portion of the body here. Up next, we have the front wheels installed and the interior installed. Next, we'll put on the steering wheel and finish off the front portion, and then we'll go ahead and put on the rear portion. So the wheels and tires are pretty well done. They're just kind of hard to put the tires onto the wheels. The wheels are kind of sharp on the edges, and it was kind of hard to fit the tire around them, but eventually I was able to get it, and I did put them on the car, as you can see, at least for the front here. Now we have the body attached to the rest of the car, and the steering system is complete. All I have to do now is add the exhaust components and the rear wheels and axle. And I also have to put in those two screws there to hold the chassis in place. But there's the middle exhaust component, and then we have the two rear exhaust components with the mufflers. And then the last piece goes on like so, kind of clips into place back there, and that will hold the rear wheels and rear suspension in place. The final step is to put on the license plate, and then there we go. There's our completed model. Looks super cool. I'd say this is a pretty engaging build. There were some issues with putting in the steering system, but I was able to work that out. I'll kind of talk more about that in my review of the model, but it looks like an awesome model. Of course, you have the opening doors, opening trunk, and the opening hood. I'm really glad to have gotten this model and to have built it. Looks awesome. I'm looking forward to doing a review on this for my next video, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.